place that you're talking about on the Earth.
If you put that dome cupola over the center, you see a concentric ring. When you go further toward the south, you see a ring toward the center north and a ring toward the south. So this is duplicatable, at least on that level.
But the problem is that when you're observing the actual sky itself, that's not actually what happens that only really works when you put it on a map, on a flat map. But when we apply this into the real world and actually observe it, that's not what actually happens.
Will make it a claim because it's very easy to prove the dome. I want to know what distance from the Earth is the dome. If
You've got to go
Kimo
measure
can
it, you
answer.
told us.
Yeah, okay, but so where it is? Because it's nowhere.
At least we accept that we have a dome.
Yes, but where it is? At what distance?
Oh, you're going to have to go and have a look.
Me? You have been claiming it. You have me to prove it.
Yeah, but you should also claim it, because you know you can't have gas pressure without a container.
No, mate, I'm asking where is the dome? What distance from the Earth it is? I'm not asking gas pressures, nonsense things that you are saying about there.
The height is unknown. Nobody's been there.
So, there's no dome. Thank you very much. Zero dome.
Well, how do you have gas pressure without a container then?
Kimo, we have been through this discussion. You don't understand it. It's not my problem because you don't understand it.
Well, you would need a container for the gas pressure.
No, Kimo, you don't need a container. You don't understand. You don't understand the gases. First of all, you don't understand how the gases are behaving. Second of all, and third of all, you don't know what is the masses and what is the weight. So all the things that are you implying there are false and they are not true. Thank you very much, Kimo. Try more.
Yeah, I don't stand under your nonsense about an experiment. You're right. I understand.
I got a question.
I understand none of that. I stand over your question and ask you to demonstrate gas pressure without a container.
What about the
Have you
Question.
gone all three man on the land, Kimo? You seem to have gone all three men on the land.
Well, he's saying, do you understand? I'm saying, no, I don't understand. I don't stand under his authority.
Do you understand it?
I overstand.
That's a trendy thing in the new agey crew, isn't it? Understanding things.
Well, there is an inner standing and an overstanding.
I understand you.
Look, you can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum.
No,
but if you change the medium, if you change the medium,
sorry.
Why are we worried about a hole in the ozone layer if there's something holding it in? I mean, isn't that the whole point in reducing the carbon because there's a hole in the ozone layer and we're going to have gases escape?
Yes, the gases are escaping from Earth.
Then, I mean, there must be something holding it in, right?
Hydrogen and helium are escaping from the atmosphere of the Earth. Day by day, second by second.
Why are we worried about the ozone layer then?
The ozone layer is more lower than the hydrogen and helium in the upper atmosphere.
Okay. I mean, that's a little bit over my head. I thought it would be a simple answer, but thank you.
He's just making it up, that's why. Of course, you need a container for gas pressure. Otherwise, the gas would go off into space. That's how...
Yes, and the gas is going into space, Kimo. Why I don't understand it? The helium and the hydrogen are escaping from the Earth gravitational force and is going into space.
Gravitational
Take a look. Take a look. Take a look on the internet. Take a look on the papers. Take a look on the gases that are in the atmosphere.
Can you demonstrate gravity?
Can you demonstrate? Because there is a force that cannot be put it in something like a jar or something like a, I don't know, a container to be provided to you. Can you demonstrate something like that? No, you cannot. So nobody can demonstrate the gravity, Kimo. Stop play childish games.
I know nobody can demonstrate gravity. The question is, why do people believe in it?
Because
well,
it's
Kimo, here's a better question. What is keeping you down towards the earth? Just out of curiosity. Like, what is causing you to not go up or sideways?
Disequilibrium.
How many times have I demonstrated gravity for you, Kimo?
Let's say, hold on, Blue. Let's say, for example, a gust of wind were to blow you, you would move laterally, right? More dense behind you, move in that direction, the opposite direction.
okay, Kimo. Going from this hypothetical thing that you call it, I don't know, pressure that is around you. Okay, so how come when I'm going up in space, I have the same weight that I have it here on the Earth, and because there it's a different pressure pressing on me, so I have the same weight. How come?
Well, that's because the model tells you that.
No. The model doesn't tell me something like that
How do you know something like that?
because I have been in the aeroplane.
Okay.
Yeah, so
What did you do in the aeroplane?
traveling. What I have been done it in the aeroplane.
You said you were measuring pressure in the aeroplane.
No, mate, weight. The weight of the baggage that I have been put it in the aeroplane, it have been the same. That it have been up and it have been down in the space in the atmosphere. So how come if the pressure is it have been changed, my luggage it have to be more less heavier. So your theory doesn't imply.
Right. Got me. You stumped me. I don't know how to respond to that, Otis.
Go look at your scripts. Come on.
I mean, he's got me there. You take the bags up, they weigh the same as here on the Earth. I don't know how to respond to that. Stumped.
Exactly the same or slightly less?
Well, what did Dakota say? He said it's the same.
Well, if it's exactly the same, then that would imply some sort of a universal buoyancy rather than an actual gravity, which has an inverse square law disproportionate to how far away you are in effectiveness.
Yeah, I guess. Right, Dakotas?
I don't know. You told me. Make the calculations. Tell me.
Lemon does the calculations for us.
Oh, so you cannot calculate.
Oh no, why on earth would we bother with that nonsense? Look how long you've spent trying to use calculations with Lemon, with David, with all kinds of flat earthers.
With David? What I have been done it with David?
No, not you in particular. I'm just saying when we hear calculations being used against flat earthers, they never go anywhere. Why bother with them?
Because you don't understand them.
What's
Because
to
you cannot do
understand?
it.
You don't seem to prove anything with these calculations.
Oh yes, you
They seem
can. After the observations are coming the calculations, mate. All the time. After the observations, you have to have a logical consistency, and only the mathematics is give you the logical consistency.
The shame doesn't work in the real world.
If you don't understand it, you don't understand it. It's not my problem again.
I mean, I imagine you can calculate gas without a container. That's not a problem. You can calculate anything. Planets moving here, orbits there, gravitational pull here, black holes, all sorts of things. Supernovas. With your calculations, you can calculate all of that in the model. But in reality, can you demonstrate that practically?
Yeah, so when the calculations lay out the path of totality of an eclipse years in advance, millions of people go to the right place on the right date and see the eclipse at the exactly pre-calculated time that it was expected based on prior observation and calculation. So what better proof and evidence do you need for the validity of calculation when everybody goes to the right place on the right day and at the right time see the eclipse? How do you do that without calculation?
You do know that you do know that the sky is a clock, Larry.
Okay, but still, that's equations, and I
Isn't
can't do the math.
isn't it a bone that's a clock?
No, the
I
sky,
can't do
the
the
sky,
math, but
the
that
sky
makes
and the
sense to me.
celestial bodies act like a clock. So how are you
Yeah,
predicting anything if we know it's going to be 12 o'clock at a certain time? How is that a prediction?
Well, we know it has clock-like behavior because of calculation.
No, we know it's a clock like because we see it go around it again and again and again.
I mean, if you didn't have someone already telling you that there was going to be an eclipse, do you know when there's going to be the next eclipse?
Figure it out, just look at the clock.
Oh, jeez.
Well, do it then. Tell us when the next one's going to be.
I haven't looked
yeah,
at the,
tell us
I
when
haven't
the
looked
next
at
one
the
is.
clock. I have no interest in looking at that clock. Want to know?
Why
Look at
not?
the clock.
All right.
Ability. You
What
have
you're
no
saying is
ability.
bullshit.
It's not hard to
That's
find
the
out. If
problem.
you want to know, look at the clock.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well,
I
I
want
tell
you,
you,
I
it's
want
hard
you to
to
show me how to
predict.
use a clock to figure out when the next eclipse is going to be. Chemo.
It's not
But
that
even if you're
important.
using clock-like behavior of the sky to predict the next eclipse, the clock-like behavior returns data that has to be calculated to forecast the next one. Calculation proven. The evidence doesn't get better.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Chemo's claiming he can predict the next eclipse using a clock. I want to see it done.
The sky clock. All we need is to get David Weiss's application.
That's a sky clock.
Yeah, and then we just look at that and make
Okay.
not a prediction.
Do I
We'll
get a
just
sky
tell you
clock?
where the next one is.
Show me the sky clock.
When the next
Tell me
train
how to
is
use
coming.
it,
It's not a
Chemo.
prediction. The
You
train
s-
comes at 10:45.
Chemo, how would
You
you
do?
figure
Can you show me
out
where
Oh,
I
the
can
train
find the
came at
sky clock?
10:45.
And
I made
now
a
I can use it to
prediction.
predict the next eclipse.
The sky
That's what I
is a
do.
clock.
Two things, guys. First of all, the ancient Mayans knew how to predict eclipses, and they were flat earthers. Second of all, if you're looking for the sky clock, it's actually called the Antikytherian mechanism. You can Google that.
Yeah, I mean, this is already
Some-
known. I mean,
nobody knows what it
this is
does
known.
or
This
how
is
it works,
ancient
do they?
history.
Where's
guys.
my sky clock?
This is ancient
How would
history.
Chemo?
The Antikythera mechanism is the epitome of calculation.
Yeah.
That's a clock.
How do
Well,
you
there we go.
figure
We've
it
got
out?
another clock there. We've got David Weiss's clock. So everyone knows it's a clock. You want to know when these things arrive? When the next train
Well, show it
arrives.
to us.
If you want to know when the next train arrives, look at the schedule, look at the clock, and it will arrive on
You
time.
demonstrate it.
So
I
you're
want
going
my
on
sky clock.
you're going on people's previous work.
You
No, we're
demonstrate
going on.
it.
We're going on the
Chemo.
on the clock.
So
Sky
you're big
clock.
on demonstrating stuff. Can you
clock.
demonstrate it?
You said look at somebody's app, which is entirely based on calculation. What the
And
hell's
that's
wrong with
based on observations of the sky clock over thousands of years.
It's still
And
a calculation.
The first person should look at the clock is not going to know what time it is unless they have lots of observations. So over hundreds of years, get to know exactly what time it is by looking at the sky clock.
you? Yeah,
And time is
those-
what? A calculation.
Those observations are carried forward to make predictions by calculation.
Again, if it's going to be 12 o'clock when it's 12 o'clock, you're not predicting anything.
Okay, but the period and frequency of eclipses and the path of the shadow
They're
and the
scared.
location of totality is not something that's on a 12-hour face. Now, is it? It has, much like he pointed out, the Antikythera machine, lots of different gears with lots of different ratios, which are all the product of calculation.
Well, I mean, he's using the word prediction in a different way, I guess. So I guess no, people don't predict it. They can time it, I think is his point.
Oh, they can time it. Yeah, like I say, look at the clock, the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
can't.
bang, there's your observation.
You can't. You can't do it.
Oh, we can't. We've been doing it for thousands of years, Blue.
You cannot do it. They've never been able to do it.
Been done for thousands
Using
of
that,
years.
not using that device or anything like it.
They've always known when eclipses are about to occur. They've had to prepare
Bullshit.
seasons and festivals
Bullshit.
and ceremonies based on these
Bullshit.
things.
Oh.
I know, but chemo. They had to have
Doesn't
like some
work like
sort of
that.
way to in order to figure out how to figure out when this eclipse is going to
The
happen.
Egyptians have lined up their pyramid with
I
true
want you to
north.
use your sky clock and predict the next eclipse, the exact path it takes, and the size of the umbra, please.
I'm not looking to catch
Because
the
we
next
do that
trade.
with calculations.
If I was looking to catch the next eclipse, then yeah, I would look to get that, but that's not my next journey, Blue.
Why not? It's an
We've already
important journey.
seen it.
Kimo.
We already know it comes around. We know when it
Important
comes. We don't need
You're
to
trying to
catch
understand these
an
things, yet
eclipse.
you don't want to understand something as important as that.
The last two eclipses, no one was that bothered because we already know when they come. Not a big
Oh, I
deal.
missed the last one, Kimo. Can you
Busted.
tell me when the next one is?
No
Because
big
I
deal.
want to know when the next one is, Kimo.
Have a look at the clock.
I don't know how to
Kimo,
use
are you
that
I don't know
clock.
how to use the
Uh,
clock.
Kimo,
Tell me how to use the clock.
Kimo,
Well,
we
you're gonna start
want
looking at,
you to tell us.
Look at the moon, the sun, and the stars.
Kimo, but when is gonna be? And please use that clock that you posted, or I don't know who
It's
posted.
been
flat
done
Earth
already. It's been hijacked by the
I don't know, I
heliocentric.
posted
The
some
heliocentric model
some sort of crappy
stole the
looking
flat
clock.
Earth ideas and just used it as a globe.
Clock. Okay, Kimo, but where is gonna be the next one? When? This
Yeah.
is the biggest
Yeah, how
question.
Look at Walter Bislin's flat Earth map.
But how, Kimo? I'm a round earther.
Okay.
I cannot. I don't know how to use the flat Earth tools.
Right,
Can
you want
you
to know
help
the
me,
next
please?
eclipses,
The
yeah?
next time they meet up
Yes.
again.
All right, let me tell you on the next eclipse.
Okay, Google it, but
When's the
don't-
next time they meet
please,
up?
please use the clock that you implied.
Yeah, Google
Don't
use
use-
the clock too. What's the problem? Right, so
Yes,
we've got
they
the
meet up
sooner
on a
we've got the
clock.
clock for the next 10 years for the lunar
Ah.
and solar eclipses. What's the problem? The next 10 years,
So
we know
you
when
have
the
been
next
using
train.
you
We know when the next
you
train
have been
is
using
coming.
it for 10 years. For the 10 years, you have been using around the spherical Earth.
The sky clock.
Sky
Yes.
clock. So there's your next 10 years of solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. We already know when the date and time and everything. What's your problem?
Wasn't
the
done
clock.
using the sky clock. That's what's the
There
problem.
it is.
Exactly.
Look, we can tell you when. Look at the
No,
clock.
Kimo, it's
Wasn't you?
around
Do
Earth.
it yourself, Kimo.
I've just done it.
That's
That's
based on a
that's our way.
globe, Kimo.
Yeah,
That's our
how
model,
we.
not yours.
That's how we. Yeah.
So
Sorry,
the next
Blue.
one, it's saying the 4th of December. That's when the next sky
But
clock
Kimo,
says.
this prediction is using a spherical Earth.
What's spherical Earth? Show me the spherical Earth.
Just spherical Earth, buddy.
No,
Let's have a look
I'm
at
talking
spherical
about
Earth
the
then.
prediction that you know, Kimo.
No, guys, listen.
Don't
It
deviate.
uses a
Don't
picture of the
deviate,
flat
Kimo.
Earth.
Let's
So
have a look
therefore
at
it's
spherical
flat.
Earth then.
There's
Where
no
is-
spherical
Where is
clock.
spherical Earth that you talk of? You only see a flat plane,
There's only
horizontal
sky
flat
clock.
plane.
Can you tell me the
curvature.
projection? Can you tell me the projection of the map, please?
What
And
projection?
how-
You just asked me when the next eclipse was. Now we know. What's the
Yes,
problem?
by using your clock.
Yeah, that's right. I've got the data here. Just
No,
posted it
this
for
is
you.
not
It's
your
not your
clock,
fault.
Kimo.
Yes,
Kimo, this is not your.
This
Yes.
is how we tell the time.
Cuba.
Not your clock.
Kimo,
You're
just
trapped here.
deviating, Kimo. You're just
Look,
deviating
it's
the
even got
answers, Kimo.
it's even got a countdown. 145
saying what-
days, 12 hours, 45 minutes, 53
Kimo,
seconds.
I feel like
So
Kimo,
we've
I
even
feel
got,
like
we've
you're
even got a
being a little
clock.
You
Let me take a
guys still
screenshot.
our
Kimo.
clock.
Let me take a
Don't
screenshot
steal our
of the
clock.
clock
Kimo,
that
I
gives
feel
us the
like-
Thank you, Kimo,
countdown.
because if you're accepting that, you're
This
admitting the
is
Earth
our
is
sky
spherical.
clock. This is our
Thank you very
sky
much.
clock, not yours.
Look, it gives you
No,
a
just
countdown
accepted the
on this
spirit.
website.
Thank
This
you
is
very
amazing.
much,
This
Kimo.
is. How lucky are we?
Kimo, I don't know if you know this, but
Already
you're being a
over
little
with.
bit disingenuous with this thing going on right now. Because if you do any little bit of actual research into the website they show a 3D globe map that shows where the sphere.
I
Look,
just-
we've got the countdown. I'm using the
Yeah, I
clock.
just
We've got
posted it.
145 days, 12
Go to the-
hours, 45 minutes, 30 something seconds to go to the next
But-
eclipse.
But the problem is, Kimo, is that it uses spherical Earth in order
What's
to predict
spherical
this.
Earth? Can you show me the spherical Earth?
I
Yes.
did. I just
Let's
posted
go.
it.
Okay,
We don't
so
live on
go
a
to
model.
Kimo. It goes to
Show
the
you the
April 8th,
spherical Earth, no
2024
problem.
Great North American Eclipse. If
Mm-hmm.
you actually go to that one, which is the 5th one that you posted,
Mm-hmm.
it shows that it's just a picture of what it looked like on a map, and then it shows what a picture of what it looked like in relationship to a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
It uses the spherical model.
What spherical Earth do we live on?
That one right there.
Okay, you're being disingenuous.
No,
This
you're being
conversation's
disingenuous.
starting.
Show me the globe that you're talking about.
He's
Stop
just
stealing
reflecting
our
the
model.
pictures,
Stop
guys.
stealing our clock and
Showed
putting
it
it
to
on
you,
your
Kimo.
reification
It's a
CGI
spherical
globe.
Earth. I am encouraged that you have now accepted the spherical Earth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kimo. Thank you very much. This is the perfect proof for you because you don't know what you're talking about all the time.
Okay, so can we have a look at this spherical Earth that we now live on?
Yeah, I just showed it to you. It's in the chat.
Oh, that picture.
It is. Yeah.
Did
You
take
said
that
you want to
picture?
see it. There it is.
Did you take it?
I could describe it to you, but it's better to show you a picture, isn't it?
Did you take this picture?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, he have been on space. I have been helping him to be on space, and I give him my cameras. I have 3 cameras. I give him my Canon. Sorry.
When did you go to space?
Man took this picture. Man took this picture.
When did you go to space, Dakotas?
According to your claims, according to everything what you have been talking about, 1 hour ago.
An hour ago. So
No.
Yes.
While we're at it, Chemo, while we're at it, I've shown
How
you a
did you
picture
get-
of our
how
spherical
did you
Earth.
get so
How about
high?
showing me a picture of your flat
What did
Earth?
you do to
Where's
get
your
so high,
picture of the flat Earth,
Dakotas?
Chemo? Chemo, where's
Uh,
your picture of the flat Earth?
no, we got a picture of the ball. Like Dakota's talk. You
No,
said you
show
took an
me a
hour
picture
ago.
of your flat Earth. I've shown you a
You
picture of
don't
the
need
sphere.
a picture of the
You
flat
show
Earth.
me-
You've got a picture of the
Show me
ball that
something
Dakota's
that
took an hour
contradicts
ago.
this, Chemo.
Don't need it, Blue.
What have you got that contradicts what I
You
just
don't
showed you?
need it. We've got a picture
Well,
from.
you do. You got to have something. I've
We've got,
given you
we've got a
proof.
picture of the.
Show
of
me
the-
something that
we've got a picture of
contradicts
the
this,
globe
Chemo.
here.
What have you got?
A globe
Don't have
that
shit, do
Dakota's
you?
took.
Yes, Kimo.
So Dakotas, tell me
Is
what?
it-
How high
So
did you go to
according-
take this picture?
There's
According,
Chemo's predictive flat Earth map. There you go. There's going to show it on Eclipse.
Dakotas, how
Yes.
high did you go to take this picture?
where is Himarawi? 30,000 kilometers away. 35,000 kilometers away. That's Himarawi.
How did you get that?
Somebody help me, give me a kick in the ass, and I have been there.
Who?
Superman.
Superman helped you get to space.
Yes, with a kick in the ass.
Where is Superman from?
Those are the
Where is
claims
he?
that you're
Where-
doing all
where
the
is
time. So
Superman?
I can invent everything, Kimo. Kimo, I
Where-
can
where
invent
is
stories
he?
all the time.
Hey, I'm not
Stories,
doubting what you're
stories,
saying. Why would you lie? Why would you? Why would you lie? Why would you lie?
And deflecting answers all the time. I can do it. It's gonna be an easy game for me. But it doesn't have a point. It doesn't have an evidence. I can. You can invent everything, but you're inventing everything all the time. So why are you doing such things like that? This is the biggest question. You have been few seconds ago. You have been posted a globe that's predicting the eclipses without your flat Earth. So I can invent things like you all the time, and I think everybody from here can invent things.
Okay, so you said Superman kicked you into space to take this photograph an hour ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Where is Superman now?
Left it Earth. He's going to see if his planet is disappeared or not.
So this can't be repeated.
Can't?
No.
So we only have one picture of the Earth.
Oh, we have plenty of them.
But when were they taken?
Superman helped me to take
I said
all the pictures.
when?
1 hour ago, Kim.
Oh, all the pictures that we have of the Earth were taken 1 hour ago.
No, what I have it in possession. You don't have it in possession.
So what do we have? Just one picture of the Earth.
You know, this discussion is very silly, Kimo. I can troll all day.
Well, I'm asking you about your claim. You said Superman kicked you into space to take a photograph of the Earth.
Where's your globe, Globey?
Yes, my friend. And I'm
That's
telling
research
you,
for me.
my point is, because I can invent stories all the time without something to be proved.
Okay.
I can deviate questions. I can deviate answers. I can
But I'm more
create
interested
logical
about Superman
borders.
kicking you into space and you taking a photograph.
It's a fucking bullshit, Kimo. You know that because
Oh,
it's a
you
bullshit.
lied. You made it up.
Oh yes.
So what's the truth? Who took this picture?
The blue marble picture. I
Uh-huh.
didn't take the blue marble picture.
Who did?
I think blue marble have the answer.
Oh, Blue Marble took the picture. When did he take the picture?
Apollo 17.
So you see, talk with the blue marble about his picture.
Apollo 17 took this picture.
One of the Apollo 17 astronauts. I don't remember which one, but
How did they get through the Van
I'll
Allen
take any
belt?
picture. I'll take any picture any flat earther can offer me of the flat Earth. Present one.
How did they
please.
get through the Van Allen belt?
What you say? You take any picture?
By going through it. That's how.
Yeah, but they said we can't go through it today. We don't have the radiation shielding.
Oh, they didn't say that either.
Oh, let me show you Don Pettit about technology.
It's just a lie.
All right, hold on. I'll get
It's just a lie, you know.
quote. Don't worry.
They avoided the worst part of the Van Allen belt. They still went through parts of it.
But
Does
what
that
is
matter?
the
They went through it.
what is the Van Allen belt in the flat Earth?
I'm just going to show Blue where Don Petty says we can't go back to the moon because we don't have the technology. And I'm just wondering,
you have been
I'm just
asked about-
wondering from Blue, how did they get through the Van Allen belt?
Doesn't matter.
Image.
Where is the Van Allen belt in the flat Earth?
There isn't one, is there?
I'll tell you. They're actually pretty smart people.
No, this is Don Pettit, and he says,
a hell of a lot smarter than
we
you are.
can't go back to the
And
moon
what they did was
because we don't have the
avoid the worst part of
technology.
the Van
He says
Allen
that you
radiation
destroyed the
belts.
technology.
They still had to go through it, chemo.
So what was that technology they used to get through the Van Allen belt?
It's called a rocket ship.
The technology is called, we have those today, Blue. We can't get through the Van
know.
Allen belt.
We shoot and we go through it all the goddamn time, chemo.
How do we get through it?
We have launched hundreds of spacecraft that have gone through the Van Allen belts.
Yeah, and I'm asking you,
The system is the lunar module.
how do we get through it without destroying the equipment?
Well, they got through it in 1969. Chemo.
How did they get through it
1969?
without destroying the
Going
equipment?
by avoiding the worst part of it.
How? The bout. It goes all the way around.
Avoiding it, chemo.
And bear in mind, they went through it twice. One on the way out and one on the way back. How did they go through it twice?
We went through it.
With what technology? What was the name of the technology that
do any damage to
What
anything.
is the name of the technology that allows us to go through the Van Allen belt?
Apollo lunar module.
Aluminum.
Aluminum.
Do you know?
So we don't have aluminum today.
Do you know the shape of Van Allen belt?
Do we have aluminum today, Blue?
Chemo, answer to the question.
Have
Do
we
you
run
know
out, have we run
the
out of
shape?
Have we run out of aluminum?
Do you know the shape of Van Allen belt?
Who did we sell all the aluminum to?
Chemo, do you know the shape of Van Allen belt?
Why don't we have any aluminum anymore?
All right, why don't you answer my
What do you mean
question?
we don't have any aluminum?
It's going to have to answer the other one's question. If you just keep questioning each other and nobody answers, you're not going to get very far.
They answered the lunar module.
I'm just trying to figure out from Blue
It's a whole system.
what
That's
technology
the
they used to
technology,
get
the
through the
lunar
Van Allen
module.
belt. He said aluminum,
Yeah,
and I'm
the lunar
saying,
module.
does that mean now
The
we
lunar
don't have any
module.
more aluminum
No,
today?
The lunar module. The lunar module. Chemo. The lunar module.
We don't have
The lunar module.
That lunar module is in the museum. Why can't we just use it again?
You could technically, I guess. It's
But
kind of
we
outdated.
can't though. We've just been told we don't have the technology. So either we do or we don't, Moyak. What is it?
Would you ride to the moon in a 1960s jalopy with all old wiring and old insulation and old? No, I wouldn't do that.
So the lunar module is in the museum. Why don't we use that to go back to the moon?
Well, Kim, let me give it. Let me put into perspective this, okay? It's the equivalent of playing a
nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore.
no game only on much more powerful hardware. It's the equivalent of
So
that.
what are we going
If that
to
makes
the
any
moon on
sense.
What technology do
going-
we not have anymore? We have the lunar module in a museum. We still have that. What don't we have that we had back then?
Oh, well, that's because we're using new technology and we're waiting for it to be fully functional and tested.
What's the name of the technology they used to get through the Van Allen belt?
Artemis. Artemis is what they're going to use. We're working on Artemis.
I can't hear what you said, Moy. What is the name of the technology used to get through the Van Allen belt? Still couldn't hear what you said. Too many people. Let's try again. Moyak, what is the name of the technology they used to get through the Van Allen belt?
Apollo lunar module.
And trajectory. Trajectory.
Apollo. Show me this Apollo lunar module, Moyak. Let's have a look.
We just talked about it. It's in a museum right now.
Yeah, so we.
Well,
non-functional.
So why can't we
Reverse
use that
engineer
to
it.
go back to the moon?
Because it's non-functional now.
Well, what did we have back then that we don't have now?
Different kind of communication systems.
I can't hear you,
different
Moya.
kind of
Sorry.
navigation systems.
I didn't hear your answer, Moya. What did we have back then that we don't have now? Still couldn't hear your answer, Moya. You've been over talked again. Let's try again. So what did we have back then that we don't have now?
A bunch of machinists and methodologies.
Still can't hear
that
a
are
word
no
you're
longer
saying. Everyone's
employed.
over talking you.
No, you were over talking.
I wasn't over talking you. I was waiting for your answer.
Yes, you were. You were over talking me.
Okay, let's be specific. Which piece of technology did we have back then that got us through the Van Allen belt that we don't have today on the module?
Oh, the lunar module.
The module was in the museum. We have that.
It's a non-functional version of the lunar module.
So what do we need to make it functional? What was the piece of technology that made it functional that we don't have today?
Oh, you mean the engineers and stuff who used to make things by hand and we don't have anymore? So we would have to do a really hard process of rebuilding that process, and we got new processes. So we're going
What
to
are
go
you
with
talking about?
Who's the engineer, Moyak? Who were those engineers? It's all right. You can lie. Who were those engineers, Moyak?
They're dead.
They made a movie about it. Actually, it was these.
Obviously, we had a
black
funeral
women that-
for the greatest. Obviously, we had a funeral for the greatest achievements of these guys who managed to get us through the Van Allen bat. Now, who are they? Where are they? Where's their graves?
There's a movie.
Where are their graves? Graves.
Cemeteries.
Where are the graves? The greatest achievement, Moyak. These engineers got us through the Van Allen bat. Where are they? How can we celebrate them?
There's this movie called Hidden Figures. It's about these black women that actually got us to the moon, and they're really smart, way smarter than any of us.
Moyak, who are the engineers that got us through the moon? Where are their graves? How can we celebrate the success of their achievement?
All
Could just celebrate at home, Kimo.
I couldn't hear your answer, Moyak. Try again. So who are those engineers that you said got us through the Van Allen bat? Where are they today? Where are their graves today so we can go and pay homage to what they did for mankind?
Don't research.
Would you agree to do that?
I am researching it. You brought it up, so I'm researching it with you. You're the one that gave us the information. You're the engineers, so I'm thinking, what engineers?
Well, there was Bob, Bill, and Steve.
Bob, Bill, Steve. Yeah, go on. Bob, Bill, Steve. Mm-hmm.
And they were all buried in unmarked graves in
They're in unmarked
Antarctica.
graves. Where are those unmarked graves?
In Antarctica, in the no-go zone.
How do you know?
I was there.
Give us a look.
Right.
Yes, their names were Dorothy Vaughn, Mary
You've
Jack.
been to Antarctica, Moyak. Hold on. So you've been to Antarctica?
And I would say that the Hidden Figures girls are easily replaced today.
So Moyak, you've been to Antarctica, did you say?
Excuse you, that is racist, sir. How dare you accuse these black women of being replaceable?
Moyak, did you say you've been to Antarctica? I'm sure you just said that.
Yeah, Kimo, I'm done talking to you. That's why I'm being an ass.
But did you say you've been to Antarctica?
Do you know where Alexandria, Virginia is, Kimo?
Did you tell a lie or
Up
tell
there
one of your
offline.
stories again, Moyak?
I
Or
want
did
to
you
get
actually
on- I
go
want
to
you to get on
Antarctica?
the next available flight, Kimo, to Alexandria, Virginia, the Ivy Hill Cemetery, okay, in Alexandria, Virginia. Visit the grave of Werner von Braun.
Yeah. Moyak said they're in Antarctica. You're
We'll
lying,
start with
Blue.
that one, okay?
You're lying, Blue. Moyak says they're in Antarctica.
Not lying.
Moyak said they're in Antarctica.
Moyak didn't say that Werner von Braun was
Moyak
buried
just
in
said,
Antarctica.
shall I go back
It
in the
was
tape?
Bill
Moyak
Rand.
just said
Alexandria,
the
Virginia.
graves are in Antarctica.
Yeah, the three men.
So
but
who's
not
lying,
Werner von Braun.
Moyak or Blue? Who's the liar out
Neither.
of used two?
Neither.
Which one of you two are lying? Is it Antarctica or where Blue said?
The difference between now and when Werner von Braun was trying to develop the space program, well, the only difference really
The one
is
of
that
you two are lying to us, Moyak or Blue?
he had slave labor and we don't. That's the key
Well,
missing
Moyak
element.
said that the graves are in Antarctica.
No, Moyak didn't say that Werner von Braun was buried in Antarctica.
Moyak said the engineers, Bob, Moyak said Bob, Bill, I forget the other person, but we know Bob and Bill are buried in Antarctica.
No Werner.
Is it
No
is
burner.
it possible, Kimo, that two different people are buried in two different places?
I don't know. That's what we're going to find out. Moyak,
No, I'm
is that what the case is? Let's find out. Let's find out. Moyak,
Write it-
is that
write
the
it
case
down,
that they're
Kimo.
buried in
Ivy
different
Hill.
places?
Ivy Hill Cemetery, Alexandria, Virginia. Write it down, Chemo.
I've got one address, Virginia, Alexandria, and Moik is saying Antarctica. So which ones were in Antarctica?
Virginia.
Which ones were in Virginia?
Ivy Hill Cemetery, Alexandria, Virginia. That's Warner Von Braun.
I think I'm gonna need 4 or 5 sets of ears. Catch like a signal of each one of the
Can
voices.
we go back to the moon? Can we go back to the moon today?
Kimo, do you know Lenin?
So who's lying? Hold on, I'm being lied to, decoders.
Yes, you're
who's
gonna
telling
be
the
lied
truth?
to.
You've lied. You lied and said that you were kicked by Superman. You lied. Moik lied and said he went to Antarctica.
Yes,
and now
Kimo,
we're trying to
but-
figure out. We're trying to verify Blue's story. So Blue, can you provide evidence of the engineers that got us through the Van Allen bout being in Virginia, their graves? Can you verify that?
He said Werner von Braun. He didn't say anything about engineers.
Oh, we're talking about engineers, Blue. Sorry, you got your story mixed up. We're talking about Moyak's engineers who got us through the Van Allen bout, called Bob and Bill in Antarctica.
Oh, come on, Chemo. Cut the crap. Stop being such
Not
a
what?
poop.
Not my claim. This is Moyak's claim.
Stop being such a...
Not my
stop
claim,
being such
Blue.
a
This is Moyak's
dipshit,
claim.
Chemo. That's no claim at all. You know that. You're just full of
Well, why
shit.
would you lie? I'm taking your word for it. Why would you
You're just
lie?
an argumentative cocksucker at this point, Chemo.
Why would you lie? I'm taking your word for it. Why would you lie about the moon landings? Why would we lie about the greatest achievement of mankind?
Because you are an argumentative cocksucker, and
That's
not
why.
worth talking.
Okay, fine. So I understand when you speak now, you lie to me. Every time you're talking to me, you're lying. I understand that. That's fine.
To me?
At least we now know, Moyak, where we stand, that you're going to lie and make up stories. Never trust Moyak when he's speaking, because he will lie if he feels like it.
Kimo, for how many times
Okay,
did you
so
lie to me?
Dakota, let's get back to the moon.
Let me ask the room. Who believes me when I speak? Who thinks I usually try and speak the truth?
Yeah, you're debating now, Moyak. It's not about you. It's about the moon. Okay.
Moyak, I believe you.
Trying to figure
Believe
out
me,
how we got through the Van Allen bout, decoders. Now you
Who
claimed.
believes I'm more honest than Kimo?
Yeah, again,
no.
Moyak, it's not about you. Okay.
Between Kimo and
You've already told your stories, told your myths, told your lies. Let's move forward. Trying to figure out the truth about the moon landings. How did they get a rocket through the Van Allen bout?
So what does the names of the engineer have to do with anything?
Again, you're lying. Every word you say to me is a lie.
Yes, because it's an irrelevant point
story.
that you're trying to make an argument. You're being argumentative for no reason.
Yeah, story. Another story.
Kimo,
So why
now,
are you being
then-
argumentative?
Another
What
lie,
is the
Moya.
engineer-
Kimo,
What is
now
the
you,
engineer-
now you know how we feel when we're talking to you, when you're lying all the
Maybe
time.
the case, yes. So let's get the truth.
Yeah.
Let's get the truth. Let's look at some truth then for once in our lives. How did they get through? Not you, Moya, because you're going to lie. How did we get through the Van Allen bout?
Not you, Kimo. You're lying.
Again,
Don't
you're
you
lying,
talk.
Moyak.
No, Kimo, you're a liar.
Go on then,
Don't
story
talk.
time. Go on, Moyak,
You're
have
a
the floor.
liar, Kimo. Don't talk.
Have the floor,
Kimo, don't
story
talk.
Blew through them, Chemo.
Story time, Moyak, have the floor.
Story time, Kimo. You're a storyteller.
So,
They flew through the
silence.
Van Allen belts, Chemo. They got through them.
Yeah, we're trying to find out the truth about the moon landings in the middle of Moyak's
Doesn't
lies
matter,
and
Kimo.
stories.
Oh, wait a minute. We were talking about the Van Allen belts. Now you're talking about the moon landings.
How did they get
went to
through
the moon and
the
came
Van Allen
back.
bout to get to the
That's
moon?
truth.
I told
They went to the
wanted
moon and
to
they
talk
came
about-
back.
We don't have the technology to get through the Van Allen bout.
Yeah, we do.
What technology did they use back then?
We do. Do you have it?
They use shielding.
Liar,
And they use-
storyteller, lies, Moyak, more lies.
Jam, can you keep him from stopping conversations?
I'm not stopping conversation. I'm saying you're lying.
Yes, you are.
Let's hear your lies. Let's hear your stories. I'm always listening.
So, Timo, I found one that is still alive. You can go ask him any question you have. Okay.
Boy, you're free to spout your lies and stories. No one's stopping you. Go ahead. We're listening. The
His
floor
name
is
is
yours.
His
You're
name
talking
is
over
Dirk.
somebody.
Yeah, take a look
You
on
can
Chai
go-
Coast.
You can go ask him.
You'll
any
find it
questions you have
shaky and
about
mole man and Dakota's talking
2005
over you, Moyak.
computers.
Let's hear Moyak's stories. Moyak, go ahead. The floor's
I
yours.
don't want to hear Moik stories.
Well, let's hear it. Give Moik an opportunity to tell his side of the story.
That walk on
Jam,
the
can you mute
southern
Kimo,
part.
please?
They won't let you speak, Moyak.
I don't want to speak to you.
Well, I don't want you to speak to me either, because you're lying when you speak to me.
Was it clear, Kimo? You don't want to speak
I'd rather
to
you didn't speak, but again, it's an open forum. We're not stopping you. But we know when you speak to me, you are lying, telling stories. Like you said you
Well,
went to Antarctica. That is a lie. You lied
Kimo,
about going to
you shouldn't
Antarctica.
complain about lying, Kimo.
I would never make a wild claim that I've been to Antarctica when I know I
you lie
haven't. You
every
know
day.
you haven't been there, but you
lie
lied
every day.
and said you went there.
Lie every August day is a lie.
Just as usual, Mike, another story, as I've been telling you for the longest time. The floor is yours, Mike. Let's listen to what you have to say.
What's the rule in the server where you got to share the mic, Kimo?
Absolutely, go for it, Mike.
Not hog the mic.
Absolutely.
Kimo, did you just
Well-
say that you know that you can't go to Antarctica?
Moyuk did not go to
gonna do?
Antarctica.
What-
We know Moyuk
you
knows he never
said-
went.
Computer gonna
I
do
know he
for
never
me?
went, but he lied and
Prove
said
it.
he went.
So,
Oh, so he's doubling down. He says, "Prove that I didn't go." Interesting. The stories, the plot becomes thicker. Keep going, Moyuk. The floor's yours.
Prove it.
Of course.
You made the assertion.
Mm-hmm.
Kimo, as far as I'm aware, we still do have the shielding technology capable of surviving passage through the Van Allen belt.
No. We've got Don
Does
Pettit.
have
Let
to-
me post the link again. I know you like to listen to yourselves. I'm not the experts. I know you think you know more than the experts, but the technology is not there anymore. It's a painful process to build it back again. So we don't have it.
I believe what he's talking about is a Saturn V rocket, not the Van Allen belt.
No,
shielding,
they're
right?
talking about
Yes.
going back to the moon.
That's
Is
exactly
he
what
talking
he's
about the
talking
shielding or
about.
the rocket?
Busted.
He'd
Mine
go back to the
admitted.
moon in a
You might-
nanosecond.
you might
What is wrong
also
with you, Baller?
pay
You just
attention to the
lie,
fact
lie,
that that's
lie,
a
lie,
hit
lie.
done by a
He
flat
would go
earther.
back to the moon,
It's a
but he can't
cherry-picked
because we destroyed the
piece
technology.
done by a flat earther, Kimo.
The famous quote is, "I would go
Why don't
back
you
to the
tell us
moon in a
the entire
nanosecond."
interview, Kimo?
Oh,
Would like
okay.
would
So
you like
you-
to see the entire interview?
Shut him the fuck up, please.
See, you were confusing me because you said the Van Allen belt, but I think what this gentleman in the video is referring to is the actual rocket, the Saturn V rocket that they lost the. They lost.
He's talking
the-
specifically about Artemis.
Okay, so this individual in the video is talking about the radiation shielding for the Van Allen belt. That's what we've lost.
He's talking about how they can't go through because the equipment today has to be tested under those conditions.
Okay, because if he's referring to the shielding, then he's an idiot. He should not be saying such.
They're
things.
all idiots. We know that, and they're all liars. They've all got stories. There's no evidence that we've been to the moon and got through the Van Allen
You're
belts.
the idiot. That was.
We're looking for the technology that they used to go through the Van Allen belts back then. What is the name
Kimo,
of that
somebody else-
technology?
Nothing to do that, Kimo.
Kimo,
Kimo.
Kimo,
On
you
that
just lied.
rocket, there would be a name for every different part.
Kimo, you just lied again.
It'd be like a diagram with like 1 to 100, and this is that part, this is that part, this is this part. What is
do
the
you mean
part
he
that
lied
got us
again?
Well,
through
there, Kimo.
Van Allen belt?
Every
What
bit of it's
number
out there
on the
for you to look
diagram
at
is it?
anytime you want to.
Kimo, you
fucking
just
lazy to
lied
do it.
again. You lied again,
Kimo,
Kimo.
what about this link? What it says?
What link?
The one I just posted.
Well, tell us
And
about it.
Kimo,
What
you
does it say?
just lied again, Kimo.
Tell us about
How
your
does it
link
feel to
there,
lie?
Miss 13.
It says there's a human-made barrier in space surrounding the entire Earth. It's
Oh,
pushed the Van Allen belt out.
Barrier to what?
I didn't know about that, Miss 13.
Why would this dipshit say that we destroyed the technology to build?
Barrier to what?
Is that not the ozone layer, Miss 13?
No, it's not the ozone layer. Barrier to what, miss? Have you read it?
Yeah, it says it's pushing out the Van Allen belt.
Okay, so when I
So,
have been asked
what do you
about the
think?
Van Halen
What are you
belt,
saying this is?
I mean, he keeps asking about the Van Allen belts. How did you get through it? I mean, if they're pushed out, how could they not get through it?
Lead
Oh my
sheets.
God, I understand. Anybody understand that?
She's asking about like what's the thickness of the lead foil that they
Lead.
put in the walls. the lunar lander?
Use lead.
You don't need lead. Lead is not necessary, not for that sort of radiation.
Gold or whatever the hell it was.
All you need
Lead
is
is
a
too
thin sheet
heavy,
of
right?
aluminum.
So then they don't know nothing about materials again. So they're rambling around everything, but they don't know nothing. They don't have a clue about materials. Why do we
what's
need
the
lead?
technology that got you
only
to figure
lead.
that island out?
The only damn lead you'll find in those spacecraft is the lead used in the solder on the printed circuit boards.
Because lead, I mean, to have a whole thing shielded with lead, they wouldn't be able to get it up there
Nothing
with it.
shielded. We don't shield spacecraft with lead. That's crazy.
See?
It would make the radiation problem worse as well.
It actually would. Yes.
Yes.
That defeats the globe model because according to the globe model, you need lead or water to actually shield from radiation.
What
Oh,
kind of
you do
radiation,
not.
mate? What kind of radiations they want to be deflected by the lead?
Exactly, that's the
Solar
point.
wind?
Yeah, by the lead, yes.
Yeah, so solar
I think
wind.
there's just one kind of radiation.
Solar
Type of
wind is
radiation is
permeated
lead shielding.
spacecraft.
What sort of radiation is lead effective at shielding?
Gamma and
That's
delta, and also
Just answer the question. There's no need for name calling.
I mean, it's used for something. When you use it when you go to the doctor, right? When you get an X-ray, it's
It's
blocking something
X-radiation.
obvious.
Van Allen
Dentist-
radiation belts, not X-radiation.
dentist has protected my
Right.
gonads many a time.
Yeah, I didn't think it was the same radiation.
I bet when someone said gamma, that's gonna invite Widget here to be a gamma.
It's mostly beta radiation, isn't it?
So what shielding would you say would be the optimal for passing the Van Allen belt? Shielding.
Well, the optimal was what they used, which was oh gosh, what was it? It was like a epoxy foam thing, I think. Ugh, can't remember exactly what it's made out of. Let me get me notes.
It actually is they found epoxy to be pretty effective.
Really?
I think tungsten is a good one.
Well, there's a number of layers of it as well. Hang on, let me get me video of it. I'll show you.
Are you absolutely sure there was no lead in this foam?
Yes.
Even some sort of amalgamation?
Yeah, because lead would make the situation worse when you have heavy materials like that. That's basically how we create X-rays, right?
Exactly how we create X-rays. Fire an electron beam at a hard target, and it will at enough voltage, it will produce X-rays.
Right.
What an X-ray tube is.
And that's what you'd be doing. You'd be having electrons hitting your lead and creating X-rays.
But then why is it that the doctor puts lead over my nutsack every time I go to the dentist?
It's effective shielding against X radiation, not ionizing
Right.
radiation.
Right. You're much better at this than I am, Blue. I have my confused memories of when I learned this stuff.
According to the globe model, I've heard that water is actually one of the best shielding. So why don't we use water?
It actually is.
Somebody
Well,
notice that chemo doesn't withstand sarcasm?
Water is obviously a good insulator for this, but it's very heavy. So what they try and do is get materials that have a lot of hydrogen atoms in them.
But why don't they just use the kind of the interior walls of the lander as a sort of like one of those camelback backpacks that hikers wear, like kind of to drink from the walls, and then there's a sort of membrane that keeps the water in the walls, and then they can pee.
Yeah, well, that has been talked about, I think, for the Mars mission, that sort of using the water supply as shielding, but obviously that, that's something you've got to engineer, and for Apollo, that wasn't necessary.
That's actually one of the reasons why they like the use of that water-cooled underwear they use in the spacesuit. It's for EVAs.
Right.
That serves two purposes. It keeps their body's temperature under control, and it acts as radiation shielding.
How many inches of water would you need surrounding you to be safe?
Not a lot, actually. I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but it's not a huge quantity.
And would there be more radiation coming from one side than the other?
I can't answer that.
The fact is, because if you want to deflect radiations, you have to do a lot of tests. It's not something that you're gonna do it in by implying something, you know, because the radiations are not is not something very easy to calculate. You have a lot of things that are gonna be implied, and you have a lot of materials to test. So it's not easy to shield something. Only according to tests you're gonna have a result, but for you to tell you the correct answers is very hard for us.
Yeah, I've got an image here from my video that I made of this. Hang on.
So I'm curious, if water protects us from skin cancer, if evolution is true, why haven't humans evolved gills and like webbed toes?
So there's no evidence then for getting through this Van Allen belt.
So I've just posted an image of the hull of the command module, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 layers. That make up the
what is that technology, and why can't we replicate that technology today? And remember, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of flat earth law.
we need slightly different technology today because we have a different digital technology today to what we had then. And our modern digital technology is much more sensitive to these charged particles that are flying around in space than the equipment that we had in the 1960s.
Funny, it's almost like I've heard that before. Told the king.
I know, how many times have I said that before? So it's a different engineering challenge now, and that's why we can't just use the same stuff, because it's, you know, it's a different spacecraft with different equipment inside it.
Don't buy that. Because, like I said, we've got the technology in the museums. Okay, now all they've got to do is send whatever they sent before back up. There'll be no problem. We've got the rockets.
Yeah, we can do that.
We could do that, but what would be the point? We would only achieve what we've already achieved. We would want to achieve more than that, right?
Well, we've achieved less than that since we've been to the moon. We haven't sent man back to the moon in our lifetime.
That depends how you judge more or less. We built an international space station, haven't we?
No.
Had that up there for years. We've
that space station, if it was real,
we've explored other planets in the solar system.
If it was real,
robotically, we've built and launched space telescopes and seen parts of the universe that we couldn't see before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not true to say we've gone backwards or we haven't advanced.
If it was true in any way,
just moved in a different direction.
We would be seeing the ISS doing a figure 8 around the moon and around the Earth. So you would see it going up to the moon, back down from the moon, around the Earth, back up to the moon, around the moon, back down like a figure 8. If space was real, if the moon lands were real, we wouldn't have the ISS just going around the ball when we've already been around the moon. It would fly off to the moon, then off to Mars, back around Mars, back around the moon, and then back around Earth.
Think about what you need to achieve to do that, Chemo. What you need, if you're going to Mars, what you need to do is figure out how astronauts are going to live in space for a long period of time, right?
Yeah, we know that. We already know how
to. So how are you going to figure out how astronauts are going to live in space?
NASA can't figure that out by now. They should be fired, all of them.
Well,
if they're that stupid,
a good way to figure it out is to get astronauts to live in space for a long period of time. A good way to do that is to build a space station close to Earth so that you can send lots of astronauts there at a lower cost than it would be to send them to Mars, for instance. And in that way, you can learn about living in space and engineering the necessary technology to live in space.
But why does a long time have to take so long? Why can't they speed it up?
What do they know about space now then that we didn't know before?
It's a matter of money.
Oh my God, we know a lot of things
Like what? What do you know about space?
that we know it before. For example,
Next stupid question, Chemo.
For example, we know how long
globe, that's why.
For example, we know how long
Stupid
a man can stay
education.
in
That
space.
has brought you nothing. How about that? You wasted your entire life curve. How about that?
Dakotas was speaking, Chemo. Why are you such a rude fucking cunt?
Well, you made a response. I was responding to you. Or you interrupted Dakotas to make your point.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Why don't you shut your mouth?
Chemo, you interrupted him.
You're
Stop
the
it.
one who's wasted your life with spherical nonsense. Demonstrate your spherical ball.
Finish up, Dakotas, so we can be done with this asshole.
Yeah, let Dakotas finish, please.
Now he doesn't
Go
want
ahead.
to speak.
It's no point right now. It's about the human muscles. It's about our body. How long we're gonna stay without the gravity. It's about how long we can survive with the water that doesn't have the gravity and is not gonna go very easy in our body. And we have been done it a lot of tests and we know a lot of things since 1960s and right now. It's about our body and how we're gonna grow up plants in space. It's another thing how the microbes are behaving in and how they are multiplying in no gravity. So there are a lot of things that have been done through 60s until now.
Right.
Chemo, you live in the age where we landed a spacecraft on a comet. You cannot say we have not advanced.
Can't demonstrate that, can we? Not going to blindly
Demonstrated it by
Blimey.
doing it, Chemo.
Denmark won 4-0.
Oh, is there football on today?
Yeah, Wales.
For real?
Wales
4-0.
Denmark.
Oh my God.
Or Wales.
Mm.
It's a bit of a slaughtering.
Should have put some money on it.
I don't think you'd have got good odds on Wales.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And nobody can guess because Denmark is gonna score 4 goals.
But, you know, like I say, I know it's very painful. We like to remind you of that, to help you get through all of this. The evidence, the stories. Now, we've just been through an hour of complete made-up stories and excuses to explain why we're not doing a figure 8 from the moon to the Earth.
That's why you were getting angry, wasn't it? Because I was giving you a series of reasonable answers that made sense. And
That's what
that's
did
not-
it.
really bothered you. I could feel it bothering you.
No. We're
it's
supposed
bizarre.
to take steps and huge strides. We've gone backwards, not forwards.
This is bullshit. What have you had to do with it?
This is how it should have went. Moon landings 6 times.
What's this bullshit?
Then the next year, ISS should have been up there, or whatever years they would have needed to be up there. And by now, in this generation, they should have been doing figure 8s with Mars and the Earth.
Oh, you think that's practical, right?
Yeah, the ISS should have been built a
Or you can
year
just put-
after they went to
You
the
think it's
last
practical?
journey to the moon.
You answer my question, Chemo. You think it's practical then to put a spacecraft in perpetual orbit, figure 8 orbit around, say, the moon? Think that's
No, in
technically
1970 something, they should have started to.
You just said that now. I'm just trying to clear it up.
No,
Talking about
now
doing
this is
figure
not.
eight
This is
around
not
the moon.
fantastic
Do you believe
today.
that technically is
The ISS would
feasible?
have been fantastic in the 70s. Today, because you had Skylab. So today, the ISS is like, you've gone backwards. Right, you've got Skylab. Where's Skylab today? Where's the extension of Skylab? And all that huge giant space they had, jumping around, flying around like they were in some big gymnasium. Where's that today? We see them a little... We see today they're in little aeroplane tubes.
Why do you think your stupid questions matter, Chemo? Just because
No,
you're
we're
an
not,
idiot
these are not
doesn't mean that you have
questions,
a
these are
point.
statements that we won't be fooled into believing that you
How
went
long was
somewhere.
Skylab expected to be up there?
Well, long enough to so we can verify it and validate it.
That was not the purpose of Skylab by any means.
Well, again, the purpose was to deceive you, and it worked.
What's your purpose?
Purpose is to expose the deception.
When are you going to start doing that?
We've been doing it. Pay attention. You're part of that.
You're exposing your delusion.
For example, if
When are
we
you
ask
gonna
you to
expose this
demonstrate the
deception?
globe with your spherical trigonometry.
Illusions and ignorance.
Spherical trigonometry.
Yeah, I know.
So
Spherical
you put
trigonometry. This is what he uses.
Just made up.
Spacecraft around the
So let's
moon,
hear
my
it then,
God.
Curved. How you can prove you're on a board with spherical trigonometry.
Not again,
Chemo.
Chemo. You're not a listener, Chemo.
You're not a talker, are you? You're just
I
upset
got plenty
that
to
you wasted
say.
your
I'm
entire
not going
life.
to waste it on you.
You
I'm just
wasted
going to
your
make fun
entire
of you
life
and piss
studying
you off.
something you can't demonstrate. That's why you're angry.
Chemo, you're a moron. How can I demonstrate something to somebody who cannot understand the demonstration?
I'm not the one who studied it
Something,
for
Chemo.
my entire life. Something that I can't
Become
prove.
worthy of knowledge, Chemo. Become worthy of the effort to give you the information.
Why would I
So
study
far, you're
something
nothing
that
but
I
a
cannot
goddamn
demonstrate?
hand-waving stone wall.
You should be
You
proud.
can't keep
He's
your
right,
mouth
Chemo.
shut
You
till the
are
next
a
You're
guy's
not
finished.
proud to talk about what you've been studying. You're
You're a
embarrassed.
rude,
as you should be.
over-talking cunt, Chemo. Fuck up.
As you should be embarrassed. Don't talk about it. Keep it in your mind. That's where it belongs.
Chemo.
Everybody here knows spherical trigonometry is a thing.
Yeah.
They know how it applies to the globe.
Really?
You're a jack-off,
Really?
Chemo.
Name one person here that knows it, other than you.
Blue.
Who?
Blue.
Blue. So Blue can. Okay, Blue. Let's demonstrate one of the ball using spherical trigonometry. We're listening.
That was not the
What do I need
challenge.
spherical trigonometry for, Chemo?
Because Kerr thinks you know how to apply spherical trigonometry and prove a ball.
What do I need spherical trigonometry for, Chemo?
It's not what I answered.
What does he need
No,
it for?
wait
He
a
doesn't know
minute.
how
No,
to
it's just
use
about your
it.
dishonesty, Chemo. That's not what I answered.
Another one bites the dust. Thank you, Curved. Been shown
I
that
don't need
nobody
spherical
knows what your
trigonometry
nonsense
to
is.
describe the surface of a ball, Chemo.
I have
your
no
own
idea
Curved
what
on
the
this.
victory is you're declaring here, Keith.
Nobody knows what Curves
Oh,
is
either.
talking about.
No, everybody knows what Curve is talking about.
Oh yeah. Okay,
you don't
demonstrate what
get it.
Curve's talking about then.
So why do I have to demonstrate something that you don't that you're never gonna understand? For example,
Nobody knows the
for example,
what you're talking about.
For example, my friend, do you know, because in spherical trigonometry the triangles exist and they are curved?
No, I don't know any of that. Nobody knows any of that apart from Curved.
No. Do you know those things?
I don't know it. Do you know those things?
Okay, so we don't have nothing to discuss. Thank you very much
Exactly,
for
Curved. You
proving
see
my
that?
point.
Nobody wants to talk about it because they don't know anything about it. Only you have made up this nonsense about spherical trigonometry proving a ball.
No, mate. I just explained it to you.
Alright,
Thing
then
from the
demonstrate the
spherical,
globe with spherical trigonometry.
from a spherical perspective of trigonometry about triangles, and you're never gonna accept those things. So why do I have to bother to fight with someone who doesn't understand
I just said I'm listening.
basic things?
I want your explanation of how.
I don't want to explain you nothing because I have been explaining it to you for a couple of times, and I have been like talking with walls. So why do I have to go again?
Nobody understands it. It's nonsense.
No, we understand that. The problem is because you are deflecting everything what we have been putting on table all the time,
Sure,
and
you
that's why.
understand it.
And that's
Sure
why
you
my
do.
friend Superman is gonna put me in space every time when I want in,
Oh, yeah, you're the
in your
Superman guy.
discussions.
You understand?
Yes.
Of course you do. So, Kurt, is anyone serious in here that understands what you're talking about? Not one.
I've already answered that question, and you changed the question.
Well,
after I gave
Blue
you the
cannot
answer.
demonstrate spherical trigonometry. He doesn't know what you're talking about. He says, "Why do you even?"
What do you
need
mean?
it?
That is not true. That is not true.
Why do you need it?
You
Kurt?
just changed it again.
Let's demonstrate the globe.
Chemo,
with spherical
stop
trigonometry.
lying, and it won't be so hard to keep up with what you're saying.
Demonstrate the globe
Stop
with spherical
lying.
trigonometry. That's the only point I'm making.
No,
somebody
you've said
demonstrate
several
the globe
things,
with-
Chemo.
Is it possible to demonstrate the globe with spherical trigonometry? That's what I'm asking. And who?
Well,
In fact, yes, it is.
Who
That
can
is
do it?
not what I answered before, but yes, of course it is, just like Blue said.
Okay, so let's take a look. That's what
It's
we're
been,
looking
it's
for.
been done. Why is this time any different than the
When?
previous 100
Where?
steps,
Who's done
Chemo?
it? When and where?
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Useless troll.
There you go. Just wasted more time, more of your years. By
You're a
using
waste of
some-
time,
Well,
Chemo.
you're the one that has something you can't
Why
apply
don't
in
you
the
be
real world.
interesting? Learn how to be interesting, you dumb cunt.
By asking you to demonstrate the globe is the most interesting thing right now.
Chemo.
There's nothing more interesting than you demonstrating spherical trigonometry that we're on a globe.
You were never interested before.
Well, it's
You've
interesting.
dismissed everybody who's done it for you.
We've tried everything. There's no evidence of a globe, so maybe let's see if spherical trigonometry can do.
Yeah, well, it does.
Let's take a look.
Is there something we can
That's
actually
smart
talk
enough,
about?
Chemo.
All right, let's change the subject. Another one bites the dust. Carry on, Kurt.
You're
The
not
floor is
smart
yours.
enough to go through it, Chemo.
You're a proficient dust biter, Chemo.